Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Formula A. Yes, we are back. It's been a long summer break, couple weeks off, but here we are. You got Kyle and you got Marcus. What's
Hey
going
guys,
on? What's
how's it
going
going?
on?
Yeah, it looks like we're taking turns bowing out of the podcast here. We got nothing against Ryan. He's getting ready for his big day. He's gonna be wearing the nice dress, going down the sorry his fiance is gonna be going
Oh.
down the aisle wearing a nice dress. He'll be in a killer tux. So that's where Ryan is, just getting ready for the big day this weekend. But speaking of this weekend, it's a spa weekend.
We got a race.
Yeah.
Finally. Yeah,
Finally.
bud.
I mean, listen, we haven't been denied the drama for the last couple of weeks with the
No.
crazy, what are they calling it? The silly
The
season now?
silly season, yeah.
Oh my God, with all this drama, guys, you'd think we're still in high school.
It's crazy. So we said before, like, okay, if there's like a Piastri announcement, some big move, we'll make a little bit during the summer break. But as you can see, it's our first time back since Hungary, so no one's really been signed. But I guess we could give you guys a quick little rundown of what happened in case you missed the last one. Oscar Piastri is stirring up some major, you know the word that comes after that. And we still don't know where he's going. So Ryan and I talked about this in great detail last time. Marcus missed out though, and I know you have a spicy little take on what Piastri is going to be doing and where he's going to be going.
So I have a very different take. So everyone's been saying, listen, that they're going to pay out Danny Rick at McLaren and they're going to make the room for Piastri. I don't think that's going to be the case. While I'd love to see Piastri and Lando battle it out, I think realistically what's going to happen is Danny Rick is going to stay, finish his contract at McLaren, and Williams is going to sign Piastri for a 1-year deal. And then we'll see Piastri make the move to McLaren in 2024.
Wow.
That's my hot take.
So you're holding out hope for the Danny Rick McLaren relationship?
Yeah.
Interesting.
That's where I'm going with this one.
Interesting. So I know for that to happen, like Danny has to be paid off. Like we don't know what kind of sum, but something pretty major, I guess, from McLaren, because Danny has the final say as per the contract. So that would be interesting.
Yeah, because from what I understand, I don't remember the exact number, but I think it was around the 20 million marker. It was something ludicrous to pay him out.
Yeah.
And I don't think Zach Brown's really in the business of losing money.
No. Zach Brown has his big boy pants on 24/7. He knows how to run a company. So I'm assuming he'll only do that payment if it's reasonable, and I'm sure he has to know, like, there's, maybe Piastri's bringing some big sponsorship dollars back to replace that. So that's very interesting.
Yeah.
That's very, very interesting. And because, Spa is always, well, for the last, in recent memory, been the first race after the summer break, get a lot of announcements at Spa.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think, I start off with Walter Koster there, do you think we could see a Piastri announcement this weekend?
I don't think so. I think Alpine is taking him to court. I think there's going to be a lot of lawyers involved. I think they're going to try to bust this thing wide open. And I don't really see why they would. Like, let's be honest, if they end up forcing him to stay or finding some loophole in the contract where he has to stay and drive for Alpine, it's going to be a salty relationship.
Oh, yeah.
They're just not going to be happy. I think it'd be almost a career-killing move for him if he got forced into staying with Alpine. Do I think we're going to see other announcements? Maybe. But I think every driver announcement kind of hinges on the Piastri situation.
Yeah.
So I don't really think we'll see anything until the Piastri situation's resolved.
Yeah, and it's interesting because we did find out, now we didn't get any official announcements or anything, we did find out over the last couple weeks that McLaren did make it clear to Danny that they want to sign Piastri and they would like him to move on. That was made public, so I guess you can take it with a grain of salt. I mean, the only people that know that for sure are Danny Rick himself and McLaren, but all the major media outlets reported that, so it's gonna be interesting. And then you could have a scenario where if Ricardo does stay, like you said, that relationship could be pretty salty too.
Yeah.
I'm staying with McLaren after they verbally told me to get out. That interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, you know what they say: when it rains, it pours, and when it pours, Spa races on, but doesn't. Because we're supposed to get some rain this weekend.
First of
So-
all, 11 out of 10 segue. That was unreal. But yeah, I don't mean to alarm you guys, but rain's in the forecast for Stav-a-Lot. I think that's the actual town where Spa is. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, it was rain.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, I mean, Ryan might be a happy camper because we could get another Williams podium this year,
we could.
and the goat could be standing on that podium.
Yeah, this was his last points finish, I believe, Latifi. Was
Rea-
Spa last
yeah.
year.
Right, because he's still the only driver not to finish in the points this season.
Yes. So, could that streak be snapped at Spa? I mean,
We could go over our predictions and find out.
we could. Let's find out if anyone has Latifi in the top 8 for
Should
Spa.
we start with Kyle over here?
Yes, I think we can do that. So, for my predictions, if you guys remember, in Hungary, I rode the Mercedes and Lewis hype train so hard, and I predicted the Lewis win. I was so close. If that rain had happened a little earlier, who knows what could have happened, but Mercedes are right there. We had Russell on pole in Hungary, so the Mercedes car is really, really improved, and I think they're a force to be reckoned with, and I think they're going to come out of the gate swinging. Hamilton wins at Spa. Second, I have Verstappen. Third, I've got Leclerc. Russell fourth. Norris fifth. Sainz sixth. Ocon seventh. Ricardo eighth. I think Ricardo's got the fire in his belly with all these rumors. I think he'll get a good finish this weekend.
I think I've got a lot of the same drivers as you up there.
Okay?
So I'm also gonna ride the Hamilton hype train. I think we're gonna see a win this time around, followed by Verstappen. Then Russell is gonna round out the podium. I think. Listen, seeing what he did in that Williams last year, I think Russell's got the cojones to really push it at this track. Then I think Leclerc. I think it'll be close, but it'll be Leclerc in fourth, Perez in fifth. I'm thinking Alonso in sixth. I know you had, what was it?
I had
Ocon in
Ocon.
sixth.
Yeah, I had Ocon, yep.
And then I've got Norris and Ricciardo wrapping up the top 8.
Interesting. So because Ryan did send his predictions in, before we got to that, Marcus and I both picked a DNF. The rain would factor into that, I guess, but traditionally there's always DNF Spa. It's a very unpredictable track. I had Perez not finishing this race. He's been in a really bad form lately. Not all of it's been his fault. He's had some technical problems, but I feel like those woes are not over just yet.
Well, he had that crazy drift. What was it, in 2019?
Yes. Oh my goodness. That was a pants-changing situation.
And then who was it? Gasly that made the overtake up Eau Rouge?
Yes.
That was
phenomenal.
Yeah.
So
that was reminiscent of the Weber Alonso.
Yeah, magnificent.
But oh my god, like side by side up. Oh.
Yeah, I can't even.
Good moments.
I can't even. And at 200 miles an hour, I can't even imagine what that's like. But there's some crazy moments coming at Spa. Should we read off Ryan's predictions before
I think we should
move along to the next topic? So Ryan, he said he's in very early. He's a go-getter. Just want to give a shout out there. He's got Max in first. Predictable. There's not. He was not going to pick a Lewis win.
As Aiden would say, Ryan's got his orange glasses on.
The orange glasses on. Yeah. Sure, his wedding's going to be filled with orange glasses.
Oh, I've got the orange F1 tie ready.
Oh yeah,
to go.
right on.
Well, I'm gonna say it's a McLaren tie, but
yeah. For
Ryan's sake, I'll say it's a Dutch F1 car on the tie.
I back that. So he's got Max in first, Charles second, Lewis third. Actually impressive for Ryan to have a Mercedes on the podium. Carlos fourth, George in fifth, Perez in sixth, Alonso seventh, Danny Rick in eighth.
I think this might be the weekend where we catch up to Ryan on points.
I think so. Ryan's not here and he's not over the Zoom today, so we can just rip his predictions all we want.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's nice. He can't really clap back. So.
yeah, exactly. So Ryan, I know you'll be listening to this later on tape delay, but we got you, man. We got you. We're coming for you. Lewis is taking it this weekend.
Yeah.
So
Hey, I mean, Lewis is still a McLaren boy down at heart, so.
yeah. So I stick with him.
Yeah.
Hashtag blessed. Yeah. So yeah, interesting. It's gonna be a wild weekend. The rain's gonna play a huge factor. Hope to God we don't. It's not like last year.
Oh my God, I hope not.
Because that whole thing last year. The good thing is, I think last year was a learning experience for them that they will never do that again.
Yeah.
Like you can't like. I think they actually did change some rules. I'll have to double check later. I think they did actually change some rules that you do actually have to run more like green flag distance as opposed to
Behind the safety
here's
car.
a safety car for 2 laps. Thanks for spending $500 on tickets, everybody, and go home.
Oh, yeah, like F1 races aren't cheap, and now they're insanely packed.
Yeah.
Like, maybe, I think Europe, it's probably still the same because it was always popular in Europe.
Yeah.
But imagine that happened in North America. That would
Oh,
be... Ooh.
well, it's funny you say that because I think it was 2006 or 07, whatever the last year they went to Indianapolis was, when they had the tire gate.
Oh, yeah.
And 6 cars started the race. And Bernie Ecclestone was asked about how the future of Formula One is in the United States, and he just replied, "Not good, not good." And yeah, that was the last year they went there. It was a train wreck. So yeah, obviously they can't afford to have things like that in, what would probably be considered not the most popular markets for Formula One. Nowadays the U.S. I'm sure is huge, but yeah, I totally agree. Like they cannot afford to have that happen again. Certain races.
Well, I mean, the Spa situation last year was still in talks basically till the end of the season.
Yeah.
Like you would see on the on the F1 Instagram comments be like, things you want to see happen in the 2022 season. The people at Spa getting refunded for their tickets.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what happened, but I sure hope those poor soggy Belgians got their money back for that. Because that was brutal, and thankfully I don't think it will happen again. Of course, we did get some funny moments out of that last year. You got to kind of find the silver linings in this stuff. I mean, I think that's where Williams had the paper boats, and they raced the rubber duckies through the pit lane, and we got that legendary picture of Nikita Mazepin watching Nikita Mazepin on the screen. It was like an inception of Mazepins, and at the same time, he registered the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. His claim to fame behind the safety car, but it still counts.
Hey, it's still the fastest lap.
Yeah.
That's one more than we've got.
Yeah, exactly. I'll never get it. So yeah, the other goat, the Russian goat, Mazepin.
Mama Mazepin.
So, yeah, I mean, aside from the craziness with the rain and the Mazepin inception and everything like that, I wanted to point out something I don't think that's actually happened before. Their predictions. We all have Danny Rick in scoring points. I think we all have him in 8th actually. Yeah. Funny enough. So I did mention before, I think the fire might be lit under the belly a bit. Like, what do you think this weekend means for Danny Rick?
I think we're gonna see him maybe come alive a little bit because he's now fighting for his seat in F1.
Yeah. Yep.
Like it's out in the open. He knows, and we're going to see a lot of stuff in the press conferences. Everyone's going to be asking what the status is. I can guarantee it. Do we think he's going to be secretive, joke it off, or is he just going to be like, guys, stop asking that question?
Yeah. I'm more on the latter of that. I think he will just kind of politely, with a huge smile on his face, tell the reporters to shut up a bit.
Yeah.
In the nicest Danny Rick way possible. Yeah, because I don't think, he's, at the end of the day, he's pro. Yeah. He just wants to show up and do his job and race the car. But he's thinking about it. As much as he probably will say that he might not be, it's in these guys' heads.
100%. And it's not like he's a terrible driver. He's still a world-class driver.
Yeah, he's fantastic.
Like, as far as the skill set on the grid, I don't think he's in his prime, but he's still very much up there as far as driver talent goes. I just think he can't really get a grip on the car.
That's a fair assessment. And I mean, like we all know, like it's pretty clear the car is being built around Lando, right? It's the same thing with every team. You know, Red Bull, they built the car around Max. Mercedes, they built the car around Lewis. It happens, right? And Danny knows that too. Like he did better in the Renault than he did in the McLaren because he was the head guy at Renault.
Yeah.
So again, you can look at it and be like he might be like Alonso 2.0 with his career decisions, unfortunately.
But I still can't believe Alonso went to Aston Martin of all things. Like
that shocked me. Yeah.
Like imagine how bad things must be going at Alpine for him to be like, you know what? I'm driving a car that's getting me, P6 to 8 on average in a race. Let me go to Aston Martin and fight for P15.
Yeah.
That's how much I don't like Alpine.
Yeah, there's something super toxic in the waters at Alpine because I mean, he wasn't the first one. I mean, even after like the Piastri drama started, I saw even Joe Guan Yu because he started in the Alpine Academy actually, and he himself even said like, I was right to leave Alpine.
Oh,
like that's a real spicy
Wow.
thing to say. So if you're so confident to say that, like, yeah,
they are ruthless.
yeah, and their advisor was Alain Prost for the longest time ever, 4-time world champion, like fourth all time in wins, and they basically like told him to get out. How can you treat somebody of that caliber like that? You know what I mean? So yeah, there's something really weird going on at Alpine, and that just needs to be fixed internally. That's really sorry. Speaking of being fixed internally, I almost forgot to segue into this next part. This is Formula Segue right here. We're doing really good with these. Fixing things internally. Do we think Ferrari? We think Ferrari is showing up to play at Spa?
I don't think there's nothing wrong with the Ferrari. The Ferrari, it's the number one car in the Formula One. The Ferrari, it's the best. There's nothing I need to change. Maybe we pay them a little bit, we cheat a little bit, but the Ferrari, it's the Ferrari. It's the best.
Yeah, maybe the Mattia can bypass the little fuel regulator again.
Oh
maybe
my
tweak
God.
something. Yeah.
But how do they, how can you guys see these strategy calls that they're making? And everyone watching Formula One notices it. Like, even the drivers were laughing when they put the hards on.
Oh, that was so
funny. Remember
funny.
in the cool downers?
Yeah.
Like, did he put the hards on?
Yeah.
Like, there's no way Ferrari doesn't realize that they are in the bed.
Yes. That was a brilliant bleep, actually. No editing required there. It's shocking. You know what? Traditionally they've been pretty good at Spa. Leclerc got his first win there. Of course, obviously
And
the
that was
engine was a little rigged.
That was an emotional win for
That
him,
was a
too.
huge win for him. Right after we lost Hubert, unfortunately, it was a huge win for him and something so good to see. So there's been a lot of, this sad stuff has happened at Spa, like a lot of other tracks, but good stuff has happened too. And I think, look, if Ferrari don't show up this weekend, I think it's done for them.
If Leclerc DNFs this weekend, it's done.
It's over.
Championships. Because I read a statistic where Max Verstappen cannot enter a single race until October and still have his championship lead.
Yeah, which is just crazy to think about. And Mercedes are creeping up behind Ferrari. They are so close
They
now.
are almost within DRS range. They're so close.
Yes, exactly. That was brilliant, by the way. We've been mentioning this on the podcast every episode. Hey, Mercedes, they're creeping up. They're catching up to Ferrari.
Yeah.
And now it's oh my God, they're gonna blow past them. That's what it seems like is gonna happen.
Ferrari is. I think if they don't manage to win the championship, this will be the best car to never win a championship.
Well, that's another thing. It's
yes, the Red Bull is catching up to it, and
Yeah.
in some races has outperformed it, but that Ferrari is damn fast.
yeah, and that's another thing. It's how many opportunities do you get with this this caliber of a car? It doesn't come around all the time, right?
Well, how many times has Leclerc DNF'd from first place? 4 times this season.
I
That's
think so.
100 points, and let's call it 102. Let's assume half of those he had the fastest lap.
Yeah.
That's 102 points. He would technically be 22 points ahead of Max.
Yeah.
If that was the case.
Yeah, and I don't know if we dropped this stat before, but I do remember, like, Verstappen has won more wins from Leclerc poles than Leclerc himself,
Yeah.
which is, like, that sounds fake. It doesn't even sound real, but unfortunately, that's the reality for Ferrari, and I mean, like...
credit where credit's due. Max is incredibly talented.
Oh, yeah, he's the top dog right now, just the changing of the guard, right?
He's full well in his prime. Mind you, it's his 8th season, I think, now,
Yeah.
which is,
It's crazy to think that he's, like, considered, like, almost like a veteran,
yeah,
and he's, like, our age, basically.
yeah.
It's nuts.
What, is he born 97 or 98?
He might be 98,
I think
actually. Yeah.
he's my age then. Holy smokes.
Yeah, if I can remember.
Because you're 97, right?
I'm 97, yeah. So,
Yeah, so imagine being our age and having, what is it now, 20-something odd F1 wins?
yeah, and this, like, crazy, like, black private jet that you fly around all the races in, like, just a full-on
Oh.
super villain. Yeah, he's living the dream, and Ferrari is living a nightmare. That's the best way I can
Ferrari
put
right
it.
now is that meme of the dog in the house that's on fire.
Yeah.
Everything's fine.
Yeah.
That's all. No,
Yeah.
there's no problem with the strategy. We just, Charles needs to not crash. Carlos needs to stay out of the gravel pit.
It's
It's Maki Katsufai.
it's always somebody
Yeah.
else's fault, right? I mean, like last race, we saw Mattia just walk off the pit wall in the middle of the race, and it's like, is he going to the Indeed headquarters with his resume?
Yeah.
Like, what is he doing? Like, is this it? And then he comes out in the middle of summer break and says, "There's nothing needs to be changed internally at
Yeah.
Ferrari." I think a lot has to be changed at
Listen,
Ferrari.
I'm no F1 expert, but I guarantee you I would make a better strategy call than those guys.
How hard is it? Yeah. And
Well, it's as
sorry, I
hard as
just
the
realized the
tires
pun.
on
I just
the-
realized the pun there. Yeah.
As hard as the tires on Leclerc's car.
it's
Well, it's like that. Did you see that video online where like the Italian grandpa was like yelling at Ferrari while he was watching the race?
yeah.
He goes, why you go pit for the hard? And then you put this up. Just you see the Alpine, they have the hard tire, it not work. Why you bring a Charles in?
Yeah.
And he's like freaking out.
You do, a 50 fucking pit stop.
Oh, it was,
The
it was
Tifosi are
incredible.
having a total meltdown. Italy is just in shambles. It's crazy. It's just crazy. Now, another Italian brand that's in Formula One that I did want to bring up on this podcast might not be an Italian brand for much longer, because just today I actually read the report is that an announcement could be made this weekend, not driver-wise, but team-wise, that Sauber Alfa Romeo will be rebranded as Sauber Audi. This was pretty much a done deal is what they're saying. I know, and yes, we've said this a couple of times already, but this sounds like it's officially done. And the cool thing that I read is that Audi has no intention of, or they've told Sauber they have no intention of making them like a customer support team for Porsche when Porsche comes in. They are fully saying, like, we want you to be a factory team and get all the support you need, which should be really, really cool.
That would be really cool.
Yeah,
I'm still the most excited to see Porsche in F1.
I think everybody is.
Because Porsche shows up and wants to win.
Yeah.
They don't take second place, they don't take third place unless they have 3 cars in the running.
Yeah. So, you know what, like, they actually did trademark, or they filed a trademark, I don't know what country, for the word finally. So,
Really?
you would have to think, because this has been the worst kept secret in Formula One of the century, that these guys are coming, you would have to think that that has something to do with their
100%.
announcement. So, this could be a huge news weekend at Spa, aside from all the crazy action that we're going to get on track. I do think that this could be the weekend where we finally get the official word. Maybe not both of them, but at least one of them, Audi or Porsche. It sounded like Audi would be the first one, though. So that'll be really cool.
Yeah.
It's a ways down the road. It'll be 2026. Obviously, the new engine regs they did get, announced over the summer break too. So that was going to be a pretty big deal for them. I think that's what they were waiting for before they made their announcement.
Because didn't they submit like a full, like their whole plan or whatever it was? Because in whatever country it was, the law is you have to submit your plan before you sign anything.
Yes. Yeah, I think it was in a few different countries. Like everything has to be public.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like public that they're buying this many shares or whatever or Porsche is buying this many shares in Red Bull, or Audi wants this many shares in Sauber.
Yeah.
So it's all coming out. Because, I mean, I'm just looking at the 2026 engine regulations now. Like, it's still a high revving V8, but they are using a lot of sustainable fuel. Everything's running sustainable fuels, and fuels that can be used in road cars, actually, which is something that I'm sure brands like Porsche and Audi are, like, super happy about. Because that would be huge for developing their road cars, too.
Yeah.
So, obviously, I can totally see why they wanted to wait for that announcement on the engine regulations. But now that it's done, I think we could get some solid concrete information finally at Spa.
I think so.
Yeah.
So that means our next week's podcast is going to be fully stacked.
Yeah.
Or hopefully fully stacked.
Yeah. Just trying to think. There's a couple other things. I mean, not much has happened this past week. That's why it might not be a full feature-length Formula A podcast. We wanted to get the Belgian preview out for you guys, though. The other thing I did want to touch on quickly, before we talked about Mercedes. They're looking like they could turn to the old Mercedes themselves again. Ferrari is a clown show again. So much turmoil between McLaren and Alpine. Red Bull is just kind of quietly sitting there, just cruising to a championship.
Yeah, there was a little bit of Perez drama with, I don't think it's fair, but okay.
Yeah, yes.
But I think that's kind of been squashed. He got his redemption with the Monaco win. And
yeah. And it's interesting. Like, Red Bull has been fighting so hard through the whole hybrid era to catch Mercedes, and they finally, they caught them last year. They've passed them now, and now Red Bull is just kind of running away with it. Like, do you think Red Bull could go on this dominant run like Mercedes did? Do you think it's possible?
I don't think so. I think Mercedes is closing up the performance gap really quickly, and by next year, I think they'll be right there.
Yeah, I think so too. This is almost like a sabbatical for Mercedes.
Yeah.
They took a year off from crushing everybody, and I think this has been good for Mercedes. Aside from when the team first started out, they've never really been playing catch up. They've never understood what it means to
have to develop mid-season.
Yeah, exactly. So I think this is, while Mercedes haters are probably loving it that they're not winning, I think you guys should watch out. I think this is actually a really good thing for this team, that they have had a year of they've just not been dominating everybody. And I believe that they're going to come back even stronger next year.
Yeah, because they've written off the championship fight. Now it's full development for next year's car.
Yeah. So it's going to be kind of scary next year for if you don't like Mercedes, because I think they'll be...
But I even think Red Bull's now starting to focus or shift their focus on next year's car, because I don't want to say it's a cocky thing, but I think it goes without saying that Ferrari's now out of the championship fight.
Yeah, that's an interesting point, because I think Red Bull also just are so confident in Max now, and how much he's developed, not just in his driving ability, but his maturity. Not getting he still gets very angry and swears a lot, but not getting angry to the point where he just makes dumb mistakes. They are fully confident with saying, I think, this is your car for the rest of the year. Just drive the wheels off of it. We're getting the ball rolling for 2023. I think they're just so confident in Max that he can bring it home.
Yeah.
The only question is, you said there's a little turmoil with Perez. How do you think that relationship is going into Spa?
I think him and Perez are still good.
Yeah?
I can confidently say that.
That's good. I mean, because I don't really think anybody dislikes Checo.
No.
I think you have a serious problem if you actually dislike Checo.
Yeah.
It's, you know what, if you don't like the team he races for, that's one thing, but the driver himself, it's hard to really dislike him. He's a great teammate, just a great dude. He's very, very talented and very, very fast.
He's a legend.
He is a legend. Yes. So, I think he will turn around. Again, I left him out of my predictions. I'm sorry, Checo. I think there might be another DNF at Spa because somebody big from one of the teams always seems to DNF here.
I really hope it's not Leclerc.
I
My
hope not
gut's
either.
telling me it's going to be Charles. I really, really, really don't want it to be Charles.
So, to that point, question for you. Let's just say hypothetical. If Charles does DNF, as per your predictions, is it another Ferrari master plan that destroys his race? Or is it another I am stupid incident?
Yeah, I think it would be driver error.
Driver error?
Yeah.
Because, yeah, I think as far as, again, we talked about with Danny Rick earlier, these guys will brush these things off or tell the media they aren't thinking about it, but it's always in their heads a bit. I think that France crash just affected him in a really bad way.
Well,
personally.
you can hear the pain when he yelled no.
Yeah.
That was a very, very painful no.
Yeah.
Like, it's for someone just watching the sport from the outside, maybe you just think, okay, yeah, he's frustrated, but at least from my point of view, and I'm sure you have the same point of view, like I've had incidents like that in karting where you're having a great race and you just, maybe you braked a little too late and you locked up the rear, sent spinning off the track, and you sabotage your own race, and you feel crushed.
Yeah. And you know it instantly, too. As soon as it happens, you're like, oh my God, I can't believe I did that.
Yeah.
Every racer has had that moment multiple times. It's natural. It's a part of learning and fact of life. It's going to happen. You're going to do something stupid at some point and have an incident. But it happens. The thing is, like, yeah, I don't want to see a driver error from Charles this weekend at a track like Spa, just super high speed.
The best track.
Yeah, it is the best track. And you know what? Just to that point, I totally forgot. This is the last year of Spa's current contract. My goodness.
It's
F1,
not, Spa is not going anywhere.
F1, FI, just sign the damn extension already. Okay, like, I'm totally with you. I doubt it's going anywhere, but stop scaring everybody, okay? Get the damn deal done. Stop putting these silly, like, random street races and, like, replacing the old tracks. I don't hate street circuits, but if they're gonna replace, like, legendary historical tracks, like, that's just not cool, man. So just get it done. Stefano Domenicali, you're listening. Sign the damn contract. Get Spa extended. Every Orange Army person out there.
Spa should just be indefinitely extended.
Yeah,
That's it.
an
Spa,
infinite contract.
Silverstone. I know people hate Monaco, but Monaco, I think Spa, Monaco, and Silverstone, they should be protected.
Yeah. You know what? It's like, this is a really weird comparison. The original, like, dictator of North Korea,
Yeah.
he is in power for 1,000 years. Okay? So even though he's no longer alive, he's technically still the leader of North Korea. Spa should have a 1,000-year contract. Spa is the dictator of Formula One.
With any possible comparison, but you went with a North Korean.
It was the first thing that came to mind.
Welcome to Formula A, where Trudeau has convinced us that dictatorship is the way to go.
Spa needs a 1,000-year contract. That is my 2 cents.
There'll be George Jetson flying around Spa going up Eau Rouge.
Yeah, literally. It's like that old video game Wipeout or whatever where you find those futuristic like race cars on the zero gravity tracks. That's what it's going to be. And hey, if they have to turn Spa into a zero gravity track to keep it around, fine, do it. I don't care. As long as it has to be there for 1,000 years. That's what I have to say about Spa. But fact of the matter is, it's going to be a sick weekend, right?
Oh, I agree 1,000%.
Yes.
Hopefully the rain is just enough to make it spicy and not enough to give Williams another podium.
I agree. I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing Alex and Nutella TV up there on the podium, but I want it to be on merit and not because of a Michael Massey Grand Prix.
I mean, George Russell's got it on merit, I think. Like, that lap was... I still think
Incredible.
that was one of the best laps
Incredible.
in F1, but we all know he would have... I think he would have kept the top 10.
Yeah, he kind
if-
of like a point or something, yeah.
But a podium was...
Ridiculous.
But you know what? It's really nice that he was able to get his first podium with Williams.
Yeah, exactly. And hey, when you look back at the statistics and the records books down the road, most people, 99% would not look at how many laps were run or what happened. They just see, oh, Russell Williams podium, right?
Yep.
It's all that matters at the end of the day. And you know what? If it's raining in qualifying, we could see another crazy lap. We already saw him this year in Montreal with Alonso,
Yeah.
putting it P2. So
Imagine he got pole. Oh.
that would be awesome. That would be so wicked.
I would love to see an Alonso win this year. I know it's probably not going to happen
Yeah.
because I think Hungary was likely the best chance he had at one. But
yeah, hey, you never know. A podium
Yeah.
is definitely on the cards, I think, for him. But yeah, rain is in the forecast. It's going to be spicy. A lot of weirdness is probably going to happen, and we can't wait to talk to you guys about
Yeah.
it next week.
yeah, sounds good. Well, I think we'll wrap it up here, and we'll like Kyle said, we'll talk to you guys next week.
Yeah, and I think Chappie will be back next week too.
Yeah. I think we might be switching positions because I'm road tripping across Canada next week, so I'll have
Right.
to try and get onto the Zoom for a call. But if it doesn't happen, then
Formula A coast to coast tour, guys. Meet and greets with Marcus in every province in Canada. If you guys want to see him, find him somewhere in Canada. It's like a giant game of Where's Waldo.
yeah.
But yeah, Formula A. Marcus is on the road next week. Chappie will be back. I'll be here, and we'll talk to you guys after Spa. See you then.
Adios.